Okay. All right. I am ready to argue with some Magas tonight. I tell you what. Well, not just Magas. Religious people. Generalized morons. I'm ready to fight, though. That's the main thing I'm trying to get through to you. I hope tonight's one of those confrontational nights. Okay. Hey, Hope, is that a new shirt? No, I've had this one before. I'm pretty sure you've seen me in this shirt before. What's up, Allie? Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. I hate it when that happens. Oh my goodness. Oh. I was listening to a Kyle video earlier today, and Kyle Kalinske was talking about how Israeli officials from everybody from Bezalel Smotrich to like Itamar Ben Gvir, pretty much all of them are saying like, this isn't happening. We're not happy with this. We are going to continue our attacks. We will undermine it from every direction. And it just goes to show you, man, we can't have anything nice. This is why we can't have anything nice. An air bubble? I think so, yeah. I think it's just basically like a combination of nervousness and indigestion that comes together to form like these weird air bubbles that you just kind of, like I have to expel them or deal with it. But dealing with it is pretty much expelling them. Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Make sure y'all are hitting that like button as you roll in. I don't know how long we'll stay live for tonight. Probably keep it around 2 hours. And as usual, the first hour of the stream will be open for everybody to comment on. But after an hour, we will switch over to a members-only live chat. And if you'd like to continue participating in the chat at that time, you'll have to switch over. Is this an alien? I wish I was an alien. It would probably make my life a whole lot more interesting. As it is, my life is pretty banal. I'm satisfied with it, don't get me wrong. It's just predictable and boring now in a way that it didn't used to be. Which I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I'm not saying that's wrong necessarily. It's just certainly if I were an alien or something, I would be able to have a lot more choice over the amount of interesting things I do every day. Your shirts trip me out. I hope you mean that as a compliment. I like my choice of wardrobe. Although, actually, this shirt was not one I picked out for myself. This was actually one that my mom picked out for me because she was, like, shopping somewhere and she saw it and thought that it had my energy, so she got it for me, which was very cool of her. No, I'm just a normal, if odd-looking human. Yo, play us some tunes? Maybe. I'm going to start bringing something back that I haven't done in a while because it used to be pretty lucrative. If you guys want to hear some guitar music, that's fine, but the standing price is $10 or more on Cash App. You can find that down below. Yeah. Bro's blood type is barbecue. Good joke, but actually, I'm a dry rub girl. Rip Oliver Tree, I've been a fan since 2020. I'm not a big fan of Oliver Tree's, but I did see a short that he posted like a week ago, earlier today, and it kind of broke my heart a little bit because the whole message of the short was like, ugly is beautiful. Don't let people rag on you just because your looks aren't a fucking perfect 10. Most people aren't, and the ones who are, literally all that does is represent like perfect symmetry and stuff, and looking like the same as a lot of other people. So it's not exactly a good thing to want to aspire towards anyway. And it kind of sucks when somebody like that, that's got like a genuinely positive message to give the world, dies at such a fucking tragically young age. But I'm not going to sit here and claim to be some big Oliver Tree fan, because I just wasn't. But that part of it sucks, for sure. Do you play any Sublime, Phoebe? No. No, I don't think I have any Sublime on tap. I don't practice Santeria. I ain't got no crystal ball. And I had $1,000,000, but I spent it all. Anyway, so I would like to talk about something interesting today if anyone in this chat is capable of it. So look at the title, ask me a question, and let's have some kind of interesting conversation here. Let's try to talk about something substantive, you know? Because, like, how gross you think I am or how weird you think my bangs are, honestly, just is not that interesting of a fucking conversation topic. Not, you know, like, not that I don't benefit from the boost in ego, but it's just not like the most interesting topic that we could be discussing right now, you know? When did you start your transition? I think April of 2020. It's hard for me to remember if it was April or March because I don't have a very good sense of dates, and if I don't mark something down on the calendar, there's a good chance I'm not going to remember it, but I think it was around that time. What made you transition? I mean, like, nothing, like, forced me to transition. It's not like somebody held a gun to my head or something. But I had been experimenting for a couple of years before I actually came out as a trans woman with, like, a non-binary identity with the people that I was closest to. And I saw how it kind of changed the dynamic between us and made it something that felt more honest to me, and that was good. And then 2020 happened. The Trump defeated Iran. Can't wait for his third term. Not gonna happen, and didn't happen because Netanyahu and everybody else in Israel is all pissed off about it. But we'll talk about that in a second, hun. Yeah, so basically, I was like NB for 2 years among my closest friends before I came out as trans. Then the lockdown happened, and it suddenly occurred to me that there was no longer a whole lot of reason for me to not come out as trans. Ultimately, a lot of the people I was worried about losing in terms of family were people that really didn't care for me much anyway, and losing them hasn't damaged my life whatsoever. And I had kind of cultivated by that point a friend group that was very pro-trans. It was not going to judge me or discriminate against me merely because I was now living as a different gender identity than the one they had come to know me as. Are you Christian? No. Are you okay? I unsubbed because you were tripping? I don't even remember why you unsubbed to me, Trump Bunny. I was mad, but you were mad at me about something. I feel like it had something to do with Jews. That sounds bad, but I feel like it had something to do with me, like, you know, like standing up against anti-Semitism, and you were like getting mad at me for it or something. I don't remember. The Zionists in Israel are anti-Semitic? Exactly. And that's what I always try to tell people, is that they're, like, not just that, but there is no better tool of the Zionists than, like, the open Western anti-Semite. That is, like, one of the most effective rhetorical tools of the modern-day Zionist in Israel. They look at that and post that kind of shit online and signal boost it to show, like, here's what we're up against. You know, every time you post some Kekistani-ass fucking Pepe anti-Semitic bullshit meme, Israel uses that as an opportunity to further justify their genocide against Palestinians. I don't think they're right to do that, but it's not my fault that the world's population is, at this point, kind of gullible, and that the world's leaders are particularly gullible. You guys could do the people of Palestine, Lebanon, and all over the Middle East a big favor if you would stop being fucking weird about Jewish people worldwide, because there happen to be some secular Jewish people in Israel that piss you off. These live stream chatters are weird as hell. Yeah. Yeah, no, trust me. They always are. Man, I'm so sick of this fucking emoji spam, bro. Get out of here. Goodbye. Be gone. Fucking emoji spam. Am I gonna have to turn this on a subs only mode? I don't want to turn it to subs only mode. Don't make me turn it to subs only mode, please. I don't want to have to do it to you, but I'll do it to you if I have to do it to you. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it to you. There simply is no... If the stream will ever load. There we go. That should make things a little bit more comprehensible in here, I would say. Maybe we can actually start to have something like a conversation. I love your bangs. Thank you. Ooh, and because it's in this mode, it'll make me real easy to do shit like this. F the haters, bro. I love you. Thank you. Damn, man. Prism Live, why you do this? Why do you scroll back up to the top of the fucking comment section every time I time somebody out? Anyway, Too much weed? Motherfucker, you've got no fucking clue how much weed I smoke. Even if I were chain smoking throughout every one of these streams, I only stream for like, what, 2-3 hours a day? That leaves like what, like the max I could be smoking. Keep in mind I'm smoking a glass pipe unless you see me smoking a blunt. So like the max I could be smoking during these sessions is like, I don't know, like 1.5 grams maybe? And that's assuming that I'm like chain smoking hardcore a fucking pipe the whole time. Very often I'm smoking tobacco alongside it. So like, be so real. Thinking smoking is good? Huh, interesting. Can you play back what I just said and tell me where I said smoking is good? Can you tell me what timestamp that was? Calm down, buddy. How about you behave yourself however you want to behave yourself, and I will respond with an amount of passion commensurate with that which is deserved by a smarmy little moron in my chat. What age did you come out? I was 21. I'll be 28 in a couple months. The only rainbow I celebrate is Noah's Ark rainbow. If Noah's Ark happened, why are there no remains of the ship? Hey bot, if Noah's Ark happened, why are there no remains of the ship? Hey, what's up, Taylor? No, I've not seen the Owl House. Now, once again, if the fucking Ark happened, where are the remains of the ship? According to the biblical narrative, Noah's Ark was stranded on Mount Ararat at the end of its journeys. So, there is a mountain that corresponds to the biblical Mount Ararat that has been searched. It's in the Middle East. If that mountain contained the wreckage of a ship anywhere on it, they would have found it by now. There have been literally scores of researchers looking for this. Some secular, some Christian, some Jewish. Hell, some of them are fucking Muslim because 3 different religions cite the Mount Ararat story and the Great Flood as part of their creation myth. That particular Great Flood, sorry. You can't explain or rationalize with Transformers, they're delusional. Says a dumbass motherfucker hayseed that probably believes in God, Jesus, and a bunch of other Bronze Age bullshit myths with absolutely no scientific backing, but wants to come to me, a trans person, and tell me about what gender is and what science is and how I don't understand it. Creation myth? Yes. 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 Uh-huh. Yeah. Creation myth. Yes. I'm religious, but why do we accept the answer that it was lost to time? We find things thousands of years old all the time. Yeah, that's the thing. I think that Christians could come up with way better answers by saying, like, literally, here is what I think would be the most honest Christian answer given the framework of Christianity that we already have understood. True Game, $10, thank you. Creation myth, if you aren't making more people, you are anti-human, period. What? Come again now? Thank you for the $10, but I'm not sure exactly what you mean by your comment. I'm not sure what your anger and surprise at me calling it a creation myth has to do with the idea of propagating more people. Maybe you're being sarcastic, I'm not exactly sure, but I would love to hear some elaboration on that if you're down. Thank you for the $10, though. But yeah, like, the thing is, the most intellectually honest answer a Christian can give, given the religious framework they operate under, would obviously be, well, God must have disappeared the remains after a certain time, specifically to reduce the chances that Christians would be able to provide falsifiable proof of the belief system. And that's the thing. The most intellectually honest Christian is one that does not debate their beliefs and that doesn't go around like preaching their beliefs to people who are clearly not interested, who have moved on from it, whatever, because that is the person who recognizes some fundamental truths, I guess, about like human beings and their relationship with religion and the psychological backing behind it and everything. But ultimately, a lot of people can't help that. They need to, they are wired. Mammals are so wired to want to seek for answers. And we've got more access now to better information now than we've ever had at any other point in our history. And so it's very like predictable and somewhat rational that Christians would try and rationalize their beliefs, but ultimately it's an intellectually dishonest pursuit in most cases because it involves intellectualizing an inherently unfalsifiable hypothesis. So yeah, in short, Christians would be way better off just saying, I don't know, magic, I guess, to the whole ark thing. Literally, it would be way better if they would just say, I don't know, magic, I guess. It's God. Created the whole universe and fucking human beings and all this other shit. He can't disappear a fucking ark off a mountain? Sure he can. Now, there would still, obviously, there's big holes in the narrative that I'm going to point out as an atheist, but, like, it's so easy to get past that point in the conversation to a point where basically the only thing I can say, like, I could needle them on their willingness to believe in magic, but ultimately, once you realize that somebody is operating under a belief in magic, you don't really, like, in a particular field, you don't really need to like, if they admit that and you get them to recognize that, then you don't really need to pry any further. They're not obviously operating on some purely rational scientific basis when it comes to that aspect of their beliefs. Do you believe in our Lord and Savior Broly? What now? He or she. But yeah, it is incredibly intellectually dishonest to pretend that we just wouldn't be able to find the remains because of natural processes. Because we would. Unless God magicked away the remains of the ark, there is almost no chance that a boat of that size being stranded on the mountain that Mount Ararat corresponds to in the modern day, there's absolutely no chance that none of that would be preserved. There's just not a chance in hell. It would be preserved. There would be timbers that were identifiably cut from trees that were identifiably a certain year old, and if the wood wasn't petrified but was rather still like a preserved, desiccated specimen, there's even a good chance we would be able to extract DNA from it and be able to test it biologically and everything. Like, we would be able to tell if the Ark story had happened as it is described in the Bible, literally, with no other further altercations or alterations, I should have said, then we would be able to find some evidence of it. Clearly, like, we can't, so there must be some other answer. Either the whole Great Flood thing is a vastly hyperbolic retelling of a series of massive floods that would have inundated early Mesopotamia, or it did happen, and God is magic and magicked away the whole ark and everything. Now that's going to require a whole lot of other leaps of logic and faith, but that's pretty much like the only two options. You can't say that it happened, there is evidence, we just ain't found it yet, because that just fucking flatly doesn't make no sense. You have to rely on magic to justify the flood story and why we can't find evidence for it. And not just the ark either. It's a global flood would have produced like very specific results in the global strata, just like, for example, the big meteor or asteroid, whatever it was, that hit the Yucatan Peninsula and caused the big cooling event that killed off the dinosaurs. That ended up coating the planet in an iridium layer. I think that's what it... I'm pretty sure the KT extinction is the one associated with the iridium layer. But the point is, when something huge happens to the planet that basically happens to the whole planet, we can see that in the strata. We can see that in the geological strata, you know, like the rock column. Are you a Satanist? No. Question, what is a woman? Can men get pregnant? What is a woman? Someone who identifies as one. Can men get pregnant? Yes. Yes. Trans men specifically. Yeah. False, objectively correct. You want me to cite my sources? Bet I got studies. Bet I got numbers. Bet I got science on my side. Why do you have so many restrictions on chat? Because if I don't, people will literally treat this chat like a garbage dump. And I like to allow there to be a wide diversity of thought, but to actually make that useful and worthwhile, you have to do some certain things to chat to foster that environment. And one of the things you sometimes have to do is enable subscribers only mode. Iran deserves peace after 40 years of sanctions. I totally agree. It is my sincerest hope that the 60 days of negotiations that Iran and the U.S. are claiming that are going to happen, that Israel is saying is not going to happen, it's my hope that Israel does not interfere and that your people are able to take back some of the wealth that we've stolen from you guys over the last 40 fucking 50 years, give or take. I'm annoying? Get the fuck out then. I don't have you chained to the radiator. I live in the deep south. We ain't got radiators anyway. I don't have anything sturdy to chain you to if I wanted to. We ain't even got basements down here, buddy. Are you smoking crack? If I was, I would be a lot more hyper or a lot more chilled out. Like, crack affects different people differently, but I would definitely not be acting so level-headed and able to maintain a consistent conversation. Are you a girl or boy? A girl. I know the voice throws people off sometimes, but I always hope that the top and the top and the cut make up for it. But you know what? Too, I think when I get new glasses, that'll help as well. It's a lesbian grandma, basically. Basically. What happened to the happy poop? I don't know. When people say that you just know they have been sheltered from ever seeing a person on crack, I know. It's the weirdest fucking thing. When they see my stoner ass smoking weed and they're like, "Are you smoking crack, bro?" Dude, the dumbest fucking thing is when they see me smoking this thing. When they see me smoking a tobacco pipe. By the way, smoking is bad. You shouldn't do it. Yada, yada, yada. Obviously, don't follow my example. We can talk about the fucking bad effects if you want to. But, like, I don't fucking proselytize for smoking. And I fucking get irritated when people show their youth and their complete lack of experience by looking at my tobacco pipe and thinking it's a crack pipe, or looking at my weed pipe and thinking it's a crack pipe, or looking at my behavior and thinking it's crackhead behavior. I mean, sure, maybe I've got like a bit of a crackhead personality, but if anything, it's more of a cokehead personality, number one, Coke highs last a lot longer than crack highs do, I'll tell you that much. And number 2, you have never experienced a person smoking crack in your life. Okay, anyway, let me check this $5 super chat. Thank you so much, I appreciate that. Anti-human mean you aren't having kids, men can't, period. What? You're not making any more sense with successive super chats. I'm just gonna let you know. I mean, like, people who are born male do have, like, the capacity in most cases to sire children with semen. Of course, they're not, like, able to bear children yet. Maybe eventually science will figure out how to do, like, full reproductive tract, what is it called? Transplants. But we haven't figured that out yet. So as of right now, people assigned male at birth can't give birth, but that doesn't mean that we can't, like, have kids at all. I don't know, it just seems like a very strange thing to say. You don't have a womb is what he is saying, dumbass? Then why are they not clarifying that? Like, they've paid $15 so far to say things in this chat, which is fine. I'm glad that they're contributing super chats. That's awesome. But at the same time, if, like, their big point is, like, you assigned male at birth, did you know? It's like, number 1, yes. Number 2, I never denied it. Number 3, neither does anyone, like, neither does any other trans woman on the planet. And number 4, why couldn't they just say that in simple plain English? What do you think about Bad Empanada? CIA plant. Seems to come out on the wrong side of every fucking issue that I care about on the left, pretty much. I mean, maybe not the broad stroke stuff, but, like, individual fucking races, campaigns, and policy issues. Yeah. Why do they keep saying they're being restricted when nobody is restricting them? Because I've got subscribers only mode, and in the mind of a retarded chud that thinks they have a right to go anywhere in the world and spew their hateful bullshit, having subscribers only mode is a restriction because they can't come in here with their endless alts and spam swastikas or the N-word or whatever it is they're trying to do. Try McDonald's nuggets, clean bathrooms, and free Wi-Fi. What now? Thank you for the $2, Josiah. I appreciate that. Josiah's right, chat. Go try McDonald's. It'll be better for you than, you know, bothering in this chat. No capital letters in the room, please. Thank you. Yeah, just, like, don't be spamming caps, man. It's a bad look. Yes, I don't want to subscribe to this degenerate comment to make a simple, valid comment. Well, you already did, so... Cry about it, I guess. Like, you can keep bitching, but you're clearly still attracted to the content and still willing to engage in it, so why would I turn it off? Seems to be working. Nobody's making you is the best part. Literally nobody. Like I said, I live in the deep south. I don't have a basement I could chain you up in, nor a radiator I could chain you to. So I can't, like, I can't make you watch this content. Nice as that might be. You are so mad nobody would fuck you? Taylor, are you gonna tell him or am I? I mean, I don't even like being this way, but it's kind of funny to me whenever somebody talks about how I'm a virgin, and it just so happens one of my exes is in the chat, you know? You know, that is always a fascinating dynamic. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm so scared. Please don't leave. We need you, Discord gang. I know. Like, where do they get off thinking we give a shit whether they come, go, or fucking grow mushrooms in their butt crack? You need to get rid of the giant moth flying around unless it's a fly, I guess. Fall fly. No, I'm not getting rid of the fucking moth. It's not big enough for me to get rid of it. Trust me. There is a very big species of moth that occurs all over the deep south, and because we have a big garden that we do rely on for part of our food intake through the year, I will kill a 5-spotted hawk moth if I can get my hands on it, but I haven't seen one yet this year, although I have certainly been pulling quite a few of their fucking wretched babies off of my tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, tobacco. I bet you smell like you haven't showered in 3 months. I literally got out of the shower an hour ago, bitch. By the way, it does not speak well to a person's argument when they default to stupid shit like, "You look dirty." What is it about me that pisses you off? Because no one gives that much of a shit about their presuppositions about another person's hygiene. So what is it about me that really bothers you? Is the more likely thing to know what actual human teeth look like. I'm sorry, I know you've only seen other human beings in movies, TV shows, and video games, but outside of those environments, real people have real teeth. And you'll notice none of mine are missing. What else is to be expected? Even if you brush every day, which I do, that is one of the things that happens. So as it turns out, you couldn't be more wrong about your self-righteous assertion. And I would appreciate it if you would quit making them. Y'all would shit yourself if you saw my teeth. Poor babies. That's the thing that always gets me, too, is that a lot of these motherfuckers don't have good teeth either. And it's like, why are you punching to the side? Why are you trying to look for other working class people that you can shit on for being visibly working class? Like, why is that a driving thing in your life? Because to me, that seems pretty reprehensible. Just saying. What's up, Post? Good to see you in here. Good to see you, good to see you. What's up, what's up? Who's your barber? It would be stylist and me. Genetics play a big part in your teeth. My teeth are fine regardless of being a coffee drinker and a smoker. It's just like that. Well, yeah, I mean, that's got a big part to do with it, too. Although, I will say, you can have, like, really fucking good tooth genetics, and if you, like, take really bad care of your teeth, like, you can still fuck up your teeth, even if you were born with good tooth genetics. But it is a lot harder to fuck your teeth up if you aren't born with some of the many genetic mutations that have passed on down the years that make our teeth a little bit less good at holding up to the rigors of all the different things that we eat and consume. Do you live off-grid or you're self-reliant? No. No, and neither does anyone else, for the record. I mean, I guess there is like, here's how I will put it to you, okay? There is no such thing as complete self-sufficiency in a world where you have to pay property taxes to be allowed to continue living in a place, right? And most states in this union have some kind of property tax for land owned in that state. And if the state doesn't have it, there's a good chance that the municipality does. And if the municipality doesn't, there's a good chance the county does. You get what I'm saying? So finding a place that you can just buy and live on it tax-free or anything like that without any outputs to the outside world, that is basically impossible. Which is why pretty much every like homesteader or off-grid person or anything like that has some kind of hustle they do to be able to, at the very least, pay for equipment upgrades when they need them or repairs or whatever, and to pay the property taxes every year. So that's something a lot of people won't tell you about, like the whole dream of self-sufficiency. Now, that being said, I would say we supplement about 20% of our annual grocery intake with stuff that we grow right here on the property. When I was a kid, it was as high as 80%. That's what we're trying to get it back up to. And it's more feasible than you would think, and you just have to have the land to be able to do it, and which is where most people in America run into problems, right? There's lots of unused, just mowed land that is not really being used for shit else around apartment buildings and stuff like that. But nobody really talks to their neighbors enough to have like big thriving community organizations in these apartments for the most part. So nobody like gets together and thinks, what if we just petition to like, hey, let us take the maintenance of this back plot off your hands, and let's do a community garden that benefits everybody in the complex. That kind of thing could be done way more widespread across all of America and would be a great way of getting people less reliant on an increasingly less reliable global food distribution network. But I'm getting way off base now. The big point I'm trying to drive at is there's no real, like, that self-sufficiency is not a thing. It never has been. It's not the story of humanity. It's not the story of modern life. People are community organisms. Human beings are community organisms. We thrive in team settings, and even those of us who do prefer living a solitary existence, of which I'm not one, but even people who do prefer that still have to rely on the rest of society to have anything to take from or put into. And when someone actually does end up being completely isolated for too long, it almost 100% of the time produces psychosis and just craziness, basically. We are mammals not so made as to be left alone for big periods of time. What's up, Matt? Do you play that acoustic early? I do. I do indeed. Every so often. Every so often it comes out. What is an acoustic versus classic guitar? So an acoustic guitar is a broad term that encompasses any instrument with multiple strings, frets, and a wooden surface to produce the sound in the form of a soundboard. Let's just go through it. The features of a guitar. This is an acoustic guitar. This is what's called a steel string acoustic, and it is differentiated from a classical guitar mainly by its strings. So you'll notice these are very shiny metal strings, and when played, it produces a sound like this. Right? Whereas a classical guitar uses either nylon, catgut, which is not actually made out of cat guts. Don't worry, it's usually made out of lamb intestines, actually. or cattle intestines sometimes. But either gut strings, nylon strings, but sometimes cotton blends. But the idea, so I'll look up a guitar. Look up the sound of a classical guitar.
Oh, hi, Hannah. Hi.
So I'll also show you guys what I'm talking about. So you can see how the basic shape of the guitar is pretty similar, but the angles are more rounded. The body is quite a bit narrower. And the most important distinction, holy shit, that's a big beetle. Anyway, the most important distinction is that classical guitars don't have a giant beetle hiding on them. No, the most important distinction is that classical guitars have like a softer string material and typically thinner wood involved in their construction because they don't have to handle as much tensile weight on the neck or the soundboard, either one, and the type of sound that they produce. It's also a lot easier to. There's a lot. There are more. I shouldn't say it's easier. There are more methods to pick up sound from a steel string acoustic than there are for a classical acoustic. A piezoelectric pickup can work for an acoustic like this, where it won't work for a classical a classical guitar like that, which requires like a microphone or something else to pick up the sound and transmit it. No, I cannot. I can't play flamenco or Spanish style guitar at all. A song? I might play a song after I smoke a little more. Maybe. We'll see how I feel. I am going to turn on members only mode in about 10 minutes though, so members and mods will be able to chat. Everybody else, you'll be shit out of luck. The memberships are cheap though, so consider signing up. What's up, Happy Melon? My acoustic doesn't have a giant beetle in it. Must have been scammed. Thanks for answering my question, by the way. Yeah, don't worry. The big giant beetle has to find you. It doesn't come with it at the shop. It's still functional without the beetle. No, but seriously, I love answering questions about music and shit when I know the answers. I love talking about it, that kind of shit. I always thought I would make a pretty good guitar teacher, but at the same time, I don't know enough music theory to feel like I would be like good enough at it to offer lessons. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like I could teach somebody the basics of playing guitar really easily. Can you play Bruno Mars? No, I sure can't. Ryder, if you need to keep asking me that question at this late date and time, you're probably too young to be participating in this chat, bro. I'm just being real with you. And if you're an adult that can't figure it out, you're too sheltered. Not to participate in my chat, but to live life in general. Off to the gulag with you. What time is it in your area? Mind your business o'clock. The maggots left. I know. They left with a fucking furious rage as soon as I mentioned members only mode. We went from like 54 fucking 60 people hanging out to 15. Holy shit. I feel bad that people attacking you. Don't. I use them as content fodder, and if I ever get better about uploading shorts, I'll have a fucking giant bulk of content to pull from. Which has kind of been one of the points of doing these streams all along. I just need to start pulling shorts and clips from them, honestly. I really need to start doing that. I'm thirsty, but my dinner was too large. Well, you gotta sip. You don't want to be thirsty. You'll get a headache. You just gotta sip. No, I don't. No, yeah, I don't think I deserve it. Don't worry. I know that I don't deserve it, but it doesn't really bother me because it is so easy to leapfrog off of the dumb shit that these people say into better talking points than they would ever be able to come up with. What did you have for dinner, Taylor? I had beef stew. Day 367 of the perpetual stew. Day 400 of the perpetual stew. You have a sick guitar, by the way? Thank you. Stuthius, yep, Stuthius reference. What if I cough so hard I get a collapsed lung one of these days? That would be awful. Perpetual soup/stews gross me out. They shouldn't. As long as they are kept under food safe conditions, it should be fine. The main problem with perpetual stews is, well, it can be, there's a number of things, right? So number one, sometimes people will put vegetables in a perpetual stew thinking that they can just be cooked at any old heat and it's fine, when some vegetables need specific preparation before they can be added to a stew safely, which is one of the problems. And the other problem is that sometimes people will let the temperature fluctuate, which is a big no-no. You need to keep it above, I think it's 165. In high school, my buddy got caught vaping, and my bathroom teacher said they were going to get glass lung, looked it up, and apparently it's a pipe brand. Yeah, it's a pipe brand. Well, I don't even know what the fuck that would even mean. I think the teacher might have meant popcorn lung, but popcorn lung was only ever a problem because of one specific additive in a fucking few different brands of vape. An additive that didn't need to be used to create the flavor that it was being used to create, which was replaced by a better and safe alternative as soon as the fucking issue became like a national, thing. Like, as soon as it was brought to national attention, it was addressed. Like, yeah, but, dude, thick boy beef. You know how many fucking people don't know that? You know how many people look at me fucking cross-eyed when I tell them that shit? It's fucking insane. People act like I vape still. I'm trying to fucking quit tobacco. I'm trying my best. So I still fucking vape. I know I shouldn't be using a disposable, but listen, one of these lasts me like fucking 2 months. One of these big ones. I know I need to fucking get me a mod when I get paid. Listen, I get it, okay? I know. But the point is, people will see me vape sometimes and give me that popcorn lung shit, and it's just every single time I see it, it's like a media literacy, reminding point. It's like an overall literacy reminder point, because it's like, how do you not know Why are you going around just perpetuating shit you know nothing about? People just love to feel fucking smarter than everybody else, but they don't want to go through the effort that it takes to actually be able to get one over on somebody who's a dumb fuck. They just want to go with whatever they fucking think the coolest and most compelling narrative is at that moment as they hear it, so they're ahead of it before everybody else, so they get the fucking smart creds. It's like, that's not how you get smart creds. I quit cigs 3 years ago. Good job, Anthony. High five. It's crazy that inhaling nicotine could cause health problems. I've never heard of it before. Yeah, I don't know. It's like weird to me. I've always heard that. Never mind. I'm not going to get my channel banned. I was going to make a sarcastic joke, but I don't think YouTube would interpret it as a joke. I think YouTube would interpret it the wrong way and probably age-gate the stream. So, no. Nicotine is bad for you, but listen, it says that on every fucking pack of smokes and every bag of tobacco you buy in this country. There's no way to get around those warnings if you are going to consume tobacco. Nicotine of any kind, really. So, I don't know how true it is, or still is, but I've seen where those exposable vapes come from the young Chinese kids are just puffing away at thousands of them. Oh my god. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, honestly. There is a lot of fucking smoking in China, and, what is it doing? Why is it doing it? Why? What is it doing? Why is it doing it? I guess it must be doing fine. Anyway, I quit cigs almost 7 years ago or so. Vape, different story. Yeah, I feel that. Well, that's what makes me wonder, Matt. Because no, that is definitely not the only way to test them. Because you can make any vape puff with smoke by blowing into it from the air hole, from the intake, right? So, like, and they could have a machine that does that, and, they probably do. I'm going to be real with you, Matt. A lot of the shit that you hear about Southeast Asia, so, like, there's tons of it that's true, and with Africa too. Like, there's some good chunks of it that's true. But you also have to keep an eye out for shit that is recycled from lesser known media, which is a huge problem in the modern age and in the current era right now. Like, people will take some little known documentary about, horrible slave labor in Chinese factories at the beginning of the disposable vape revolution or whatever. And then they will post that in June of 2026, acting like it's current and like the way they're doing it right this second. Or like it was some big thing that was just everywhere. I'm not saying that's what happened in this specific case. I'm just using it as an example. But I feel like I have to take everything I hear about Southeast Asia with kind of a grain of salt, because for every video or picture you see or every story you hear of horrible shit happening in those countries, there's also stories of things working a lot better than they do here. And it's like, where do you draw the line? Which one is truth? I just fucking err on the side of I don't know. I'm skeptical about what I hear that comes out of the Far East. As like far as like, Japan, we know pretty much because we're so deeply involved in that country's politics and everything. But China, man, like, who the fuck knows what life in China, like average day, regular fucking average person's life in China is actually like on average? Who the fuck knows? I feel like you would have to go there and travel to a lot of different places to really get that impression. Big media do the same thing, but they do it more convincingly. Yes, yes. Big media companies will do this same exact shit. And sometimes they do it on purpose to push a narrative. And sometimes they will just get fed a fucking story that is not properly vetted enough, that relies on recycling old reporting and formulating new narratives on the basis. I'm right socially and left economically, and to be honest, when I first joined your stream some months ago, I was a bit off-put by your appearance. I'm in a remote region, don't see many different people. But now I've been tuning into a few of your streams, and I've come to appreciate how no matter how degenerate someone comes in, or how depraved their comment, you speak to them as a teacher would a student, clearly. You know what? That is perhaps the kindest thing somebody has ever said about me that's like oppositional towards me in the chat. So, thank you. That's kind of you. I like that. Fist bump for that. But, you know, buttering me up aside, I try to energy match to the best of my ability, and I honestly try to come a few levels down from where somebody's at if they're not already at that like kind of like that conversational level. Let's have a fucking, we can have a debate, we can have an argument. I definitely curse more than a high school teacher would, that's for sure. So it's more like a professorial environment, maybe. But I've never done anything that would ever qualify me to use that title, so I'm not claiming it. I'm just pointing out that that's what the environment would probably be more like, if anything. And I try to address the core of what someone is agitated about or doesn't understand, rather than solely focusing on just hitting back as rough and hard as I can. And that is more rare most days. It's like, how dare you? This is my chat, and here I am, Lord. Kneel before me, you disgusting pleb. No. I occasionally engage in some, you know, obviously comedic braggadocio, but I think everybody gets that that's a joke. I think everybody understands that I don't think that highly of myself. But yes, please like and donate, yeah. Matt's just trying to make sure I don't get a big head. But it is a kind thing. And I'll try to keep it in mind. Excuse me. Braggadocio, top marks for using great vocabulary. Yeah. That's a word I first heard about in, I first heard that word in True Grit, the remake, and I was instantly fascinated by it because it sounded to me like the root word of the term to brag or bragging, right? And I was right. It indeed is. And when I looked it up and saw the definition, I was like, ah. Literally, that's one of the things I love learning so fucking much, because when you find something out that answers a question in your mind, that's like a burning question, it really is like learning an engram in Ark Survival Evolved. It's like finding a new item in Legend of Zelda. I don't know, I'm not trying to gamify all of life, but it really is a neat experience when you have something answered by the human desire to push you towards higher learning and intellect. It's just cool. You know, you learn something about your world, it makes things make a little bit more sense, and finally, that question is answered, that synapse can connect. I'm getting you a dictionary and a history book for your birthday in a few months. Enjoy. You know what? I'll take it. I probably do misuse quite a few words. Where I'm from, the trans population, or like the openly trans population, is like near zero, so most of our understanding of it is through political news, so we kind of make fun of it. That is the situation for most rural places in America, honestly. You are not like, you're the rule rather than the exception. I happen to be one of the very few open out trans people in the area that I'm from. Um, I've met maybe two others, and I'm pretty sure both of them were trans guys rather than trans women. I know there is another trans woman that lives somewhere in this area, but I've just not met her. And so a lot of people have that same experience. There are rural communities that are like, 30 minutes outside of the core of what I would say the big town near me or whatever is, that are even more rural than the place where I live is. And those places have probably, I don't know, a couple of hundred people in them, maybe a couple thousand, if you calculated them all together, that have literally never met a trans person in real life. And as a result, they only get their exposure to trans people and ideas about gender transition and gender euphoria and all these other concepts we talk about in relation to trans people. Their only exposure to that is like Fox News and online talking heads, schmucks like me. But, in a lot of people's case in those rural communities, it's more often schmucks like Ben Shapiro, or, well, maybe not him anymore, but like Tucker Carlson or Theo Vaughn or Joe Rogan. It's one of these types that is, like, Joe Rogan is not completely anti-trans, but he's like pretty, ardently anti-trans. And when you have a lot of people that you're getting this information from that have a predisposition against the group that you're talking about, um, it of course can lead to pretty much nothing but derision. But that's why I try to have the attitude that I have, and that's why I try to engage the way I do. Because there's a tactic called contact theory that basically stipulates, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and switch it to members only mode here in a minute, but it basically stipulates that um, one of the best ways to convince person one of the best ways to convince a person who doesn't know much or is actively hateful towards a group that you belong to, one of the best ways to convince them out of that hatred is to be that kind of person that they hate and engage with them in a way that is safe for you, but does not allow them to dismiss what you say and forces them to confront your humanity. Perhaps the most famous explorer of this strategy is a man named Daryl Davis. And if you look up Daryl Davis, you will find his TED Talk and lots of other, like he went on Joe Rogan. He's done a bunch of different interviews, and he talks lots about what it was like to befriend Klansmen as a black man and get to know them and get to know their families and let them get to know his family, and what it meant when they finally realized that they could no longer keep up the racist charade when they simply knew too many black people who weren't monkeys. And what he demonstrates is that that strategy works. If it works for the worst people in America, to make them regret what they did and renounce the lifestyle that a lot of their life is built around, if it works for them, it'll work for anybody. In other words, you can convert a Nazi. It just isn't super easy. And I'm not saying you're a Nazi or anything like that. Jesus Christ, no. Don't take that away from it. I'm just saying, like, the mission of my channel is to show people that there are trans people out here that are just normal people. Like, that's the thing. You don't get, like, any kind of charade, fucking, choreographed, like, fucking meme presentation of a trans person here. I am who I am. I'm kind of an SJW. I'm pretty lefty and stuff, but I'm pretty well-spoken and clear-headed and level-headed and stuff. I'm not that prone to yelling and screaming and calling everybody racist or sexist or whatever else Fox News tells you I'm going to do, So I think that that goes a long way towards making people kind of forcing them to accept, like, maybe trans people are just, you know, like, honestly, if I can get a person from trans people are actively harmful to our society to trans people are affable weirdos, that's what I like. That's great. I consider that a win. Anti-capitalism? Yeah, yes, I'm anti-capitalism. Now, I will admit I don't know that we know exactly what the best system to replace it would be, but I like to think that the transitional system should look like market socialism, and that once we get there, we can figure it out from there. Ultimately, I think that we will evolve towards an anarchistic direction, personally. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and switch it over to members only. If you want to continue participating in the chat, just become a member and you will be able to continue chatting. Unless you're a mod, then you don't have to become a member necessarily. Alright, I will be right back. And then we will go for another hour or so. Okay. I'm back. I'm sorry, everybody. Sat on you guys. Y'all hear that? I sat on you. Okay. Whew. Gonna go for like 30 more minutes. Give or take. Speaking of trans people, the UFC fight at the White House, that dude said Michelle Obama was a man. Where did that even come from originally, and why do people think she's a dude? So, the earliest that I ever heard of that was, oh, god damn it. I didn't mean to move the damn fan that fucking close either. Alright, there we go. Okay, the earliest I ever heard of that shit was Joan Rivers. I think it was Joan Rivers. She was asked outside of a conference or some shit that she was going to or from, and I think she asked, like, I think the interviewer asked Joan what she thought of Obama winning re-election. And I don't remember exactly what she said, but I remember her saying something about, and Michelle is a man, we all know it. And this was like fucking almost, I don't know, like 15 years ago now. A crazy long amount of time. And that's, you know, that's the earliest source I can remember ever saying that, but it probably did not originate with Joan Rivers. I missed the kitty. Well, you can always go back up. You can always go back in the stream, in the DVR. But yeah, yeah, Kitty was cute. Kitty's always cute. I have no idea where it originated originally, but it's something that it's a conspiracy theory that has been going around since at least that time. And if I had to guess, it's probably been going around since way before then. Let me look this up. Actually, I'm curious. What is the earliest source for the conspiracy theory that Michelle Obama is a transgender woman?
The earliest evidence of the conspiracy theory about Michelle Obama being transgender comes from online forums, and it appeared in the YouTube video in February of 2013.
Yeah, okay. The baseless narrative first reached mainstream attention in July 2014 when comedian Joan Rivers was asked about the Obamas. In response to a reporter, she made an unprompted off-color remark, stating that President Obama is gay and using a derogatory slur to refer to Michelle Obama as transgender. Following Rivers' comments, the false claim was rapidly picked up by right-wing blogs and figures like Alex Jones on InfoWars, morphing into a sustained online conspiracy. Over the years, proponents of this narrative have frequently used digitally altered photographs and pseudoscientific scrutiny to propagate the rumor. So yeah, it was basically some bullshit that was formulated on anti-trans, well, probably, you know, like racist, anti-trans, just bigoted in general forums. Back in the early 2010s, and somebody around Joan Rivers was into those forums and got her saying it. She died the same year Karma? Yeah, I like to think so. I like to think so. How come your bangs aren't at their ladylike job, praising Jesus and changing their gender sex because of the Bill Gates and technical lead, huh? I know, right? What am I doing just being a trans woman existing online? What am I even doing here? Oh, right, BBI said it, and it happened. Israel attacked Lebanon, and goodbye peace deal. Oh, shit, really? Is this like breaking? I need recent shit. Fuck. Well, I can't find anything about it. Oh, yeah, no, Kyle talked about it. I was talking about that earlier. Yeah, Kyle was talking about how Israel has said, and I was just reading headlines about it too. Israel has said that they are not going to extract themselves from southern Lebanon. And yeah, they did already attack. They attacked Beirut, I think, this morning or something. I was just fucking forgetting about that particular thing. I guess because it seems like the deal is still going through regardless, because Iran has said, like, you know, we're going to hold off because the Trump administration has asked us to, aka we've probably unfrozen some Iranian assets and allowed them to do a little bit of positioning, so, which is good. I mean, that's, like, honestly, unfreezing their assets and stuff was something that should have been happening a long time ago, and it's something that would have been happening under the fucking US-Iran peace deal that Trump fucking ripped up for no reason other than his own bloated fucking ego. A little bit. I would be losing my mind too if I had to read the news every day. Yeah, no, 100%. Kind of hyperbolic. No. Actually, I think Kyle. I'm not even kidding, Matt. I think Kyle might be the one of the only people that is talking in hyperbolic enough terms. Like, honestly, I think that if you could get Kyle's message in front of, you know, 2/3 of Americans, that would be for the best, because people need to hear how dire it is, how bad things could get. Now, I mean, I guess maybe he's hyperbolic sometimes because he will say that things might happen that I don't think are necessarily all that likely, but I also can't really blame him for the hyperbolic language when I know that the intent is to let people know how bad things really are. And there is not hyperbolic language enough to describe how bad the catastrophic effects of climate change already are and are going to continue to be as we go on not doing anything much to mitigate it. Same thing when it comes to, like, the invasion of privacy that we've just allowed to happen since the early 2000s. There's lots of things you can talk about. Capitalism. There's lots of things you can talk about. The Epstein class. Lots of things you can talk about and be hyperbolic without ever really being hyperbolic enough, really. He says a lot of stuff that seems a bit overboard to me, like I like him over most reporters. Yeah, no, I mean, like, I kind of get what you're saying, but at the same time, don't you agree with me, Matt, that we need a change? We need it, like, honestly, we needed to throw capitalism in the fucking garbage bin and move to a better system with the rest of the civilized world back in, like, the fucking 50s, 60s, 70s. But since we didn't do it back then, we need it now, right? You would agree with that, right? Like, we need to figure out, like, we need to at least move to the market socialism kind of thing that the fucking Nordic countries got going on, that most of Western Europe is kind of moving towards, you know? I agree a better system is needed, sure. Well, I mean, I don't know, man. To me, not only is a better system needed, but a better system has to happen if we are to survive as a civilization, but also as a united global species. I think that fractions of humanity will live on no matter what we do, but I want the fractions that survive whatever we're going to be going through in the next 50 years to be as high as possible. I want us to get through this, and I want us to figure out ways to manage our society such that they are sustainable long term and coexist with nature rather than competing against it in every way. And I feel like we need it now. And I feel like Kyle Kalinske is one of the only people besides Paul and TJ that talk about things with the correct level of, you know, 5-alarm fire. The ship is sinking. The ship is sinking. That's why I try to be the way I am, honestly. I try not to get people scared, but I choose my hyperbolic language carefully and I use it when I want to. Like when I'm talking about the genocide in Gaza, I will talk about how it's a despicable holy war that has been allowed to rage on unabated for years now, that we could stop participating in and indeed end directly with our intervention at any time. And the piled dead come to the halters of the horses, and the blood of the innocent rains red from the sky. Was anything I just said about the Israel-Gaza fucking conflict wrong? I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say that. I would say I actually wasn't hyperbolic enough. I simply could not put that in poetic enough language to describe the utter tear, like the utter fucking sobbing devastation that is ever present through the Gaza Strip. I wish I got a gift. Well, then, Hope Price, you're mod, so you're fine. You're in here anyway. Thanks, Nambot. Yeah, thank you, Nambot. I appreciate that. Nambot's a cool cat. Nambot's a cool cat. Nambot's a cool cat. Oh, you get to 5 memberships. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's awesome. Thank you so much. Gifted membies. I haven't seen King Bugs in here in a few days, and my headcanon about it is he is participating. Like, he's actually one of the cage fighters in the UFC match on the White House lawn, and he can't tell us about that. So, that's why he's just like, oh, I'm a simple tradesman. Yep. Lenanbot is cool. Lenanbot is cool. Oh, for just one night, I would take the Northwest Passage to find the hand of Franklin reaching for the Beaufort Sea, tracing one warm line through this land so wild and savage, to find the Northwest Passage to the sea. It would be great to see a trans person become #1 in UFC. Oh my god. That would piss off the fucking rightoids so bad. I think there's this trans UFC girlie named Elena Farrell that, you know, she's pretty cool. Man, if I had infinite time tonight, I would sit around for 20 minutes trying to figure out how to play Northwest Passage on guitar, because it's a song that's written to be sang a cappella. But I really, really, really want to write a guitar arrangement to it so I can sing it like a folk punk song. Oh, for just one night, I would take the Northwest. I would have to find a way to speed it up that sounded right. Oh, for just one night, I would take the Northwest Passage and find the hand of Franklin reaching for the Beaufort Sea. I think I can make that work. Oh, for just one night, I would take the Northwest Passage and find the hand of Franklin reaching for the Beaufort Sea, tracing one warm line through this land so wild and savage, to find the Northwest Passage to the sea. I think I could make that work, honestly. I love your shirt, Phoebe. Thank you. It is so pretty, isn't it? Isn't it nice? What kind of guitar do you have? It looks like mine. It's a steel string acoustic. It's a Fender CC60S. The microphone blew towards his breathing passage. What now? Norwegian Crown Princess's son found guilty of 2 counts of rape. Royals doing royal shit. Abolish the monarchy. I don't know, what am I as an anarchist supposed to add to that conversation? Not saying it's wrong for you to have brought it up, but I'm just saying, like, my criticism should be obvious and many, right? But this is the kind of thing that you get when you allow people to be elevated above other people merely by coincidence of their birth. And this is a consequence, not this thing in particular, but stuff like this is something that is much more easily enabled in a society that has weird systems of caste like royalty or nobility or class or race. These things that are used to keep people apart and fighting with each other while the billionaires run off with the sack. Ultimately, a lot of them enable horrible toxic behavior just as a fucking consequence of what they are and what they're designed to enable. It's like, think about it. Things like nobility, royalty, they were literally designed to protect the ruling classes of early societies, what we would now consider pretty early societies, from the consequences of mismanagement, basically. And what is mismanagement put in Marxist terms? Social murder. And I think Lenin was right to call it social murder, or Engels, or whoever it was. And it was the correct fucking, thing to say. Yeah, abolish the monarchy, 100%. I hear coyotes. But yeah, abolish the monarchy, abolish racism, abolish gender. Get rid of all of these fucking systems that are designed to keep people angry at one another instead of being angry at the system that allows them to be so opposed. How? Yeah. Yeah, they're howling up a storm. They probably got some animal cornered or doing a mating thing or something. I don't know that much about coyote biology. Although I will say, I've started watching The Line recently. If you guys don't watch that channel, you should. Because near as I can tell, it focuses on getting really well-spoken, really well-educated people on to debunk stupid-ass ideas. So people that are anti-trans, people that are creationists, people that deny evolution, etc., etc. They cover the fucking gamut. It's clearly a lefty channel it's kind of like, here's how I would put it. It's like Jubilee, but better in some ways. Worse in like just I think worse in sheer clippability maybe. I think it's worse in sheer clippability, but better in terms of like I feel like I could shoot. I feel like I could sit through and enjoy the entire fucking process, and I have sat through several long ass episodes of this show. Whereas I'm not sure that I could do that with these extra long Jubilee things. I think I would probably get sicker of that, but I don't know. I don't want to talk shit or whatever. I used to like debunking videos. I still like Captain Disillusion. Oh, I love debunking videos. Because I kind of feel like debunking shit in real time is kind of what I do on these live chats. You know? Somebody comes at me with a retarded idea and a stupid ass way of thinking, and I'm like, well, I don't think that's the way it is. Here's my understanding. Here's the evidence we've got for it. A woman's hypothermia death in Pittsburgh after her release from ICE custody is ruled a homicide. This is sad, but also good. It means that we'll see a lawsuit or arrest of some ICE members. Will it go to the Supreme Court? It will almost 100% go to the Supreme Court. But I don't know. There's a chance that it will eventually get to a high enough and like deeply ingrained enough fucking prosecutor. And I don't think the Trump fucking administration really wants to. I don't know, though. If this was the first Trump administration, I would say, oh, dude, they're not going to let that go to the fucking Supreme Court. There's no way. Trump does not want the national level heat that he is going to get from his fucking loaded-ass Supreme Court deciding, yep, ICE can kill people and it's fine. No, you don't want that heat. But these days, I mean, the old man's gone downhill a hell of a lot in the last 10 years. And at this point, I don't know, man. He might just let it go to the Supreme Court. Because at first I really was going to say, one of these top level prosecutors will eventually get it at like a federal level appellate court and decide to rule, yeah, or, like they'll decide basically, or not a federal level prosecutor, but like a federal level defense attorney or whatever would be like, you know what, we are not going to continue this. We are just going to make these guys plead out to these charges or whatever, because it's not going to look good on the administration or anything else if we don't. But I don't think that's necessarily the case anymore, man. It really does seem like the dementia-addled dreams and wishes of Donald Trump are along with, you know, some of the whims of Netanyahu, are really like the dominant force in American politics as far as what's getting done right now. And that is a pretty terrifying thought. But it leads me to believe that there's a good chance it does end up going all the way to the Supreme Court. And if it does, there's a good chance that the loaded-ass Trump court ends up siding with ICE and deciding that these guys don't need to be, deciding to dismiss the charges against them, basically. Or decides to dismiss the civil suit against them, or whatever. And basically sets a precedent that these people are immune or otherwise difficult to target for liability when they fuck up and let somebody die. And if that happens, I don't know, man. I would like to think that that would be the straw that breaks the camel's back, and that would get the American people out for longer than an afternoon. But I don't know. I just don't know anymore. 6 years ago, it would have. I feel like having something like that happen and a court ruling like that would be tantamount to what happened to George Floyd. But will it incite the same level of protest and activity? I hope. I hope it incites more than that. Because you know what the problem with the fucking Floyd protest was? Same damn problem as every other protest. They didn't stick around. And I mean, like, they weren't, like, there were different groups of people going in, 24 hours a day. There were always some kind of protest action going on, pretty much. Maybe except the dead of night, but even that's kind of a problem, you know? Like, you really want to make these people understand how much you mean business? Start fucking buying tents and setting them up on the sidewalk and fucking covering the sides of them with signage saying, "Not homeless, here for justice," or something like that, you know? And literally make it known that you're the entire population of that city, basically, is not going to move out of the core of it until justice is done. And make that happen across the United States. This is legal, by the way. This is well within your First Amendment right. Sit-ins are literally the way that so much of the anti-war movement activity that actually got done happened. And civil rights movement too. Like, so much of the civil rights movement was built on sit-ins. The idea of a sit-in was you are going to fucking sit there, literally sit there and stay there for as long as it takes. There are sit-ins that have lasted for months. 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 I don't know exactly what we are going to see in the near future of the U.S., but something big is going to happen. I'm not sure what to do, but I have some time to get out of Dodge. For me, the answer is not my ass being able to get out of the United States. Plus, I kind of like the financial freedom that is afforded me by the fact that I will eventually inherit this land, and I kind of don't want to leave it unless I know I've got something even better lined up. Does that make sense? And so I'm defensive of it. I feel like I got roots not just in America, but down here specifically. And I feel like I should fight to keep it a place where I can live just the same as anybody else. But that's just how I feel about it. I understand lots of people don't feel that way. By the way, we are approaching the last 10 minutes, so if you've enjoyed the stream and you've got a little extra pocket change burning a hole in your pocket, consider donating, either through Cash App, which you can find down below, or via Super Chat, or gifting memberships. Either way helps a lot. If you're not a member, consider signing up. You can send a good night message before I go. But we got about 10 minutes left before we drop out of here, so just letting you guys know that. I've got to switch off the Rode mic because now I got to connect the phone to the battery bank before it dies. Live on stream. Somebody has to stay to fight for it. Well, yeah, but getting people to realize that, and not just getting them to realize it, but getting them to realize how important it is I think a difficult thing in the modern day. Because people have been conditioned to look at protests as a thing that happen, like they've been conditioned to look at protests as a thing that happens in an afternoon or in a day, or whatever. That it's something you can do with not all that much involvement and with not all that much interference. It's been too long, is what I'm trying to say, since we had one of these big fucking protest movements that requires as many hands on deck as you can get and requires people to stay there day in, day out, requires the setting up of soup kitchens and people to distribute the food so that people don't have to go too far and give up their spot on the occupation line or whatever. It's been way too long since there was something like that happened. Even even Occupy Wall Street doesn't really, I think, count, because I don't think Occupy Wall Street was big enough. I don't think it was big enough, I don't think it covered enough ground, and I don't think it inconvenienced enough people. I cleaned my car out real nice, completely emptied it, steamed out stains and gunk, vacuum. Looks real good now. Nice. Good job. Maybe we'll get to be bunkmates at re-education camp. Hey, yeah. Gotta look forward to the little things, right? You guys ever heard of the Miller's paradox? I'll ask again. You guys ever heard of the Miller's paradox? Well, good. Because I made it up. This is why I like you guys, because you're honest interlocutors. You're like, nah, no, I don't, nah. If y'all were fronting, you would have been like, yeah, I think I've heard of the Miller's paradox before. And I would have been like, no, you haven't. I just made that shit up. It's going to be my Alden's number. Did you see the report on the death of Cohen Wiley? It was a 1-year-old baby shot dead with parents shoplifting diapers. They said they got in a car and fled towards the officers. My lord. I don't know, dude. I don't feel like I hear any other leftist making this point, so I'm just going to go ahead and make it. We need to fucking quit treating shoplifting like it's a fucking 5-alarm fire that requires the SWAT team and like the drawing of guns and fucking like hands on, like, come on, you know, like, whatever. You want to prosecute shoplifting in a fucking society that protects capital above all else? I guess I get that. I don't think it's moral, but I guess I get the logic. But fuck, there is no excuse for the type of response that I keep on seeing out of police, when it comes to shoplifting and shit like that. There's absolutely no reason for these people to be approached the way they are. You know, and like a lot of times the way that they are approached and accosted leads to problems. That is probably one of those situations where they did not actually like there was probably like one fucking, maybe their car was just by default pointed towards the officers and they would have had to fucking turn some weird way to not drive somewhat in their direction. But like, if you've got the, like, if the car is not coming directly at you and you've got the ability to move away from it, that, like, you can't make an argument that car is necessarily being used as a deadly weapon, in my opinion, and in the opinion of several courts that have examined the issue over the years. Not only that, but I just don't think that an armed cop with like a I just don't think a roided out rage beast armed fucking cop is the right like solution for somebody who's caught shoplifting at the Walmart or whatever, especially not with this modern surveillance state we got. Like, half of these fucking stores have advanced enough surveillance to where they can pick up like an individual license plate and stuff like that. So, okay, you take a look at, like, okay, is that license plate that they drove off in, does that come back to a car that's registered to an owner and not reported stolen? Okay, it does. All right. Well, let's fucking stake out that address in an unmarked car for a couple of days and see if we see the people that are in the video. And especially, like, if you send some people that are like that are plainclothes cops to, if that you started making that more of the norm and started sending people like that to these incidents where there's no, you know, firearms involved, no violence involved, it's just like a shoplifting thing or whatever, you could get that human witness that is with the police department that can give an accurate accounting of what these people look like and is trained to commit it to memory and all that, and yet not alert these people to the fact that they're even cops to begin with. And once you get the intel that tells you like where these people are and where they're like staying at, you just wait till they're fucking like, you get to know their schedules after a couple of days worth of stakeout, and then you just like descend on them as they're about to leave for work one day or something. And by the way, police departments that choose to go about shit the right way do this exact thing I just said all the time. They will let a case build up against some shoplifting suspect or something to the point where they can charge them with like grand larceny or whatever. And then they will do like the stakeout and everything. They will do it all by the book. And then when they're leaving for work one day or something, they get descended on from all directions in a way where they can't run, they can't do anything stupid or endanger anyone else's lives or anything like that. And no shots need be fired in fucking 99 out of 100 cases. Because it just overwhelms the suspect involved. And I'm not even a person who fucking likes cops or the idea of policing in America or whatever. I'm just saying, like, the way we have started to treat shoplifting like it's the next big fucking armed robbery, like simple fucking shoplifting from a store, like it's the next big armed robbery or the next big fucking aggravated homicide or something. Dude, it is literally just a response to the rate of crime going down so immensely since the 90s, but the rate of policing going up way higher, and police budgets climbing since that time, and police fucking staffing climbing since that time. So these fucking motherfuckers are bored. They've got all this training that trains them to look at America like it's a battlefield and like citizens are their enemy combatants, and they've got nothing to fucking let it out on, because people just ain't getting serial killed as much as they used to. People ain't getting domestic abused as much as they used to. People ain't getting fucking armed robbed as much as they used to. So they gotta treat shoplifting and fucking smoking in public and dog shit like that like it's some fucking 5-alarm fire they gotta respond to with gunfire and fucking batons and shit. You see, officer, after asserting my authority, the magic dildo fucked me in the ass and didn't stop. Could you help me, pig? Fuck you, pig. Oh, thank God. Yeah. A streamy from Phoebe. What's up, Arya? But yeah, no, unironically, I think what I just said explains perfectly neatly why you have seen all of this crazy fucking, all these like police responses becoming increasingly crazy and better armed and everything, despite the fact that crime has continued to go down. And the severity of crime has continued to go down too. Don't let people fool you, okay? Like, mass shootings have become more common. There's certain types of crimes that have become more common, but even the fucking depravity and severity of a lot of the mass shootings is not something that's necessarily held up throughout the years. It's something that fucking fluctuates. Now, it is a fucking problem we need to address in this country, because it's one of the only crimes that has risen since the 90s. But, fuck. Over a few bucks. They act like it's their money or something. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I don't get. Well, I do get it, like I said, but that's what I've got such a problem with, is the fact that because these cops need something to do, and because we've allowed ourselves to curate a culture and to create an environment where bad cops are usually not punished and good cops usually are, and corruption is rampant, because we've allowed that to fester and propagate to the degree that it has, we now have a real serious problem of police over-response to what are very simple crimes, which leads ultimately to police treating and behaving as if human life is worth less than $100 of merchandise or $1,000 of merchandise or whatever. Like a human life that may be rehabilitated, maybe not, but that person is worth less than the $2,000 worth of merch they stole or whatever. I'm sorry, but you know, call me a bleeding heart liberal. I just think that human beings are worth a little bit more than that. I just don't understand what, like, cashier goes out of their way to even give a shit over a few dollars. They act like they... You have to understand, Matt, I don't know if you've ever worked for one of these companies or in one of these stores, but you are trained from basically day one. It's one of the first things that they train you on is, like, shrink and shoplifting and why it's bad and shit like that. It's right up there with the anti-unionization shit, you know? It's one of the first things that they try and drill into your head. And then they put in pretty fucking harsh penalties and frameworks for how you can respond or not respond to someone who's shoplifting. Like, if you're over 18 or 21, I forget which age, you can be asked to be like a witness in a shoplifter apprehension or something, where you basically get taken along to watch this person get apprehended and the police called on them and everything, which is fucking weird, but you have the ability to opt out of that, but if, like, there's very harsh penalties for doing certain things outside of that, and it's just all meant to make sure that these people know that if they see someone shoplifting, and anyone sees them see it, they have to fucking report it. And if they see someone shoplifting and they don't report it and some loss prevention person asks them about it, they have to act completely and utterly clueless. And even then they might lose their job. And in an increasingly bad marketplace for jobs that pay even somewhat well, in a lot of tiny ass, shitty ass, horrible towns, Walmart is sometimes the best paying job that people that aren't super highly qualified can get, and people will do a lot to keep that shitty ass job. I've never fucking turned in a shoplifter or participated in a shoplifter apprehension or anything like that, but I know I knew coworkers of mine that had, and I remember the training well. When I'm working at a grocery store, I'll just be like, no, I did not see anything, fuck that. Yeah, but that's why I pointed out, like, sometimes loss preventions will, like, here's the thing, loss preventions is there not just to catch shoplifters, but also to identify problem employees. This is something a lot of people don't realize about LP. They think about LP, asset protection, loss prevention, whatever you want to call it, and they think preventing shoplifting. Preventing shoplifting, apprehending shoplifters, keeping track of it. No, it's way more than that. It's like there's like structural damage that that it's part of their job to assess in some cases. There's like logistics shit that they might be required to assess depending on the size and scope of their job. But in particular, at a grocery store like Walmart, it's about catching shoplifters and stuff like that, and about identifying problem employees who might themselves be shoplifting, or who might see a shoplifter and not cooperate with the company in the apprehension of that person. It's really fucking despicable shit. It's literally like company spies that are paid by a fucking company to sit around in an office surrounded on all sides by mirror glass that they can see through, but you can't see through. And they've got a billion fucking cameras all around them, and they can get a bird's eye view of every fucking rat turd on every shelf in the store. And they are being paid, basically, to sit there, eat Doritos and Subway, and keep an eye on you, whether you are a customer or an employee. Target pioneered those practices? Yeah. Not wrong. Well, Target pioneered them, but Walmart was, I would argue that as far as like addressing shrink, and not, I'm just using their language, I'm not endorsing it morally. I'm just saying, like, in terms of like trying to treat that like a problem and doing different things against it and shit, I would say Walmart it's kind of like like a Marconi versus Tesla situation or whatever. I forget who the person that Marconi had his patent stolen from, or stole his patents from, or whatever. But it's an example of someone taking this thing that someone else was doing. So Walmart looked at what Target was doing to do their asset protection back in the day, and then Walmart took that and refined it to a dark art. So much is destroyed and is tossed. Yep, 100%. Great Phoebe, so accurate. Thank you. I know. It's sad, but that's how it is. It should just be the price of doing business. They act like they don't rake in the fucking money and closing every mom and pop shop in the area. Well, that's exactly the reason why I've got no fucking... That's why I'm so opposed to this over policing. Well, it's one of the reasons why I'm so opposed to this over policing, but it's also one of the reasons why I've got no fucking empathy for these big box stores when they complain about shoplifting and shrink and shit in their stores, because it's just like, motherfucker, Maybe your employees wouldn't be stealing from you if you paid high enough wages for them to afford the things in your store. Maybe your customers wouldn't be stealing from you if you hadn't fucking crushed all the local grocers and all the local mom and pop shops and shit where they either used to work or get their goods, and they now hate you and look at you as like the epitome of all evil, but they also know like you're the only place around to get groceries, so they're pocketing like fucking $20 worth of merchandise every time they go in. Like, the best way to avoid that would be to have better business practices. Like unironically, the best way to avoid that long term would be better business practices. But better business practices might rub off on society in general, and they can't have that. They're ultimately capitalists that care most about perpetuating that system and that way of doing things, and their model relies on it existing as it does. They don't want any shakeup to that, even if it might come as a result of them doing things better that would result in better outcomes for them in the long term. Yeah, don't open a warehouse store and be surprised when people treat your store like a cold, humanless warehouse. Yeah, literally. You've opened a warehouse store. The whole fucking thing about it is that it is a facsimile of shopping in places that used to have a soul. And you're supposed to feel something for it? You're supposed to give a shit about the people who work there or the fucking groceries that are stocked there? Like, you're not, in most cases. And it sucks that it's that way, but I was a Walmart employee 3 different times. I know what it's like. And I know ain't nobody give a fuck about a Walmart employee, and I wish that it was different. And I try to, because I know what it's like. But these are the cold, hard realities of a capitalist fucking empire. It is in the Dollar General training that the person who steals the most from the company are the cashiers. Yep. Yeah, it is. I've heard that before, and I believe I've seen some of the documentation towards it. And it's a commonality among all the big retail giants, by the way, and probably across all the big service sector giants too, I'm not sure. But the idea of like employees being one of the biggest dangers and trying to make you feel like you're the one in the know who's gonna be getting one over on everybody else, when really what they're telling you is that they're just as suspicious of your ass as they are of everybody else, even more suspicious of you than they are the damn customers. I mean, it's fucking dystopian as shit. It is the way you would expect an evil villain to think about and address their employees. It's the expectations you would imagine an evil villain might have of their henchmen.
It has long been written in the orc codes that the ones who steal the most from the Orc King are the orcs themselves.
Just as the prophecy foretold indeed. You know, eventually Walmart will be around so long that they will talk about the writings and beliefs, or the so-called writings and beliefs of Sam Walton, as if they actually were or are biblical wisdom. You realize it's going to happen on a long enough time scale if we don't overthrow capitalism, right? Let that inspire you to action if nothing else does. If you do not rise up against capitalism, me, you, everybody else, then here is your future. Eventually, your great-great-great-grandkids wake up to a life where they've got like 7 different big corporate retail giants they can go work for. 4 of them only deliver things. 3 of them are the only remaining brick and mortar places where you can get anything ever at any time that you would possibly fucking need that isn't a service. Okay? And that kid, great-great-great-grandkid, works at Walmart, right? and now it's called it's called His Majesty Trump's Walmart. Like, it's literally got like a fancy acronym and everything, okay? It's got a golden, like, Trump hair thing over the little spark, right? All right, you following me along so far? Okay. Then when it comes to your training day, right? When it comes to your great-great-grandkids' training day, they get in, and instead of being handed a training manual, they are handed a Bible, basically. A Walmart Bible that is bound in the human skin of former employees who slept on the job. And they are commanded to read it in divine silence by candlelight, in fact. And they have to do that for 8 hours a day for a month for no money. And they have to sleep at the Walmart during that training session to make sure that they go through with the whole thing. And at the end of that, they're allowed to go visit their family for 2 nights. And then they have to get back to work for 12-hour days at the Walmart, obeying every divine and holy word of God King Sam Walton. This is the future that awaits you if you don't overthrow capitalism. HMT Walmart, yep, literally. Literally, I'm not even kidding. It'll be called HMT Walmart, and there will be a little Trump hairdo over the fucking Walmart spark. Well, yeah. So some of the Bibles are bound by the fucking skins of the employees that fell asleep on the job, and there's like a few prime copies that are distributed to like the managers and stuff that are actually made of the skins of people who retired and donated their body to the Church of Rollbackology. And if you didn't know it, by the way, Walmart already does things during its like warm-up session at the beginning of every shift. Walmart already does shit during that like 10 minutes that is already just this side of a Pentecostal worship service. I'm not even kidding. Go look up Walmart pre-shift warm-up video, and you will be amazed at the type of shit that they be getting up to. It is fucking absurd the type of shit these people do. I don't have time to show you guys tonight, but it's fucking wild. Corporate retail zombie shill army horde. Yep. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. I always love doing these streams. Y'all know that. But I gotta go to sleep early tonight. So thank you guys for hanging out. I will see y'all around later. Peace be upon you. Bye.